A code editor is a program that we use to read and write code. I have a file here, which is a JavaScript file, and now I'm going to open a code editor called Notepad. And if I drag and drop this file in Notepad, I can see the contents of this file. This is a bit of JavaScript code that I prepared for this video, but don't worry if you don't know what this means yet. We will learn more about this in future videos. With the code editor, I can change this text if I want to. For example, I'm going to change this word hi here and I'm going to type hello. Now I'm going to save these changes by clicking on File and Save. And now the file will have the change I just made. So if I close Notepad and open the file again, I can see that it has the word hello. And I can do any change that I want to this text. I can remove more lines or change it in several places and click File, Save, and the file will have these changes. In this case, I am using the Notepad editor, but there are many editors and different ways to see the code in a file. For example, I can open the terminal and run a command there to see the contents of the file. These tools are fine, but there are more modern ones which I recommend you to use, like Visual Studio Code, which I have installed here in my computer. Visual Studio Code is free to use, and it's very popular, and we can use it to edit the code in our file. If I open it with Visual Studio Code, I can see the code and this editor will show the text in different colors. This is just to help us understand it better. For example, it will mark all the words that are strings in orange and the words that are functions in yellow. And also it will show us a number next to each line, which will be useful when we are programming. And we can also make changes with this editor. For example, I'm going to add a new line here. When you write in this editor, you can see things like this. These are just suggestions that the editor is showing us to help us write code better. But for now, we can ignore all that and just type what we want to type and save these changes. These are the basics of how a code editor works. You can read code in files and change it if you want to. As you can see here, this editor has many other functionalities. We don't need to worry about all of these for now. We will learn more about them as we write more code. But there is one functionality that is very useful and we will use all the time, which is that you can create new files. So let's say that I'm starting a new programming project and I'm going to have all the files for this project in a folder. So I create this folder and I call it my first project. If I open this folder with the File Explorer, I can see that it's empty. It has no files yet. If I want to add a file, I can just drag the folder to the editor. And we will see this section here on the left side, and we have an option to create a new file. So I click here and type the name of my file and click Enter. And now you can see that the folder has this new file, which we have created using the editor. And I can create more files if I want to. For example, I will create another JavaScript file, which is now in the folder. So this space here in the editor shows everything that is in the folder that we have opened. And I can write some code in these files, like console log hi, and click Save, and now the file has that line of code. This is how you can create files in Visual Studio Code and write code in them. And you can also create a folder inside this folder by clicking this button. I will call it my second folder and click Enter, and now you can see that the folder is there. So we will be doing this all the time as programmers, creating files and folders and writing code in these files. If you don't have Visual Studio Code yet in your computer, you can download it from the internet and install it on your computer. It's free to use, you don't have to pay for it. I hope you liked this video, and if you want to learn more about websites, you can click here.